This is episode 122. Welcome to Wellness in Every Season, the podcast where we explore the rich tapestry of wellness in all of its forms. My goal is to help you thrive both as an individual and as a parent. Have you ever thought about aging? And once you get to a certain age, you just want to stop or age backwards? That's what we're talking about today. How can you age backwards? Did you know that you actually can? And it's not about going and getting the Botox and the surgeries and all of that. Although I have tried Botox. That's another discussion. I didn't love it. Probably won't do it again. But I was talking to a brother-in-law who has his birthday today and was asking him if he was getting older. I texted the day before, someone's getting older tomorrow in our family group. And today I said something about getting older, and he said he wishes he could age backwards. And I did not know what I was going to be discussing today, but I knew I wanted to record, and I started thinking about that more. And we have a way to age backwards, and that is by focusing on, surprise, our wellness. That is why I focus on that as a coach when I am working with clients. I really help them invest in themselves. We are our biggest investment. The stock market has gotten really low this week. The point of this is we could invest in the stock market now while it's lower. We can get in lower and all of that, but there's so many unknowns about if we can get our money back, if we'll get it back in time, if it'll grow the way that we want it to. Did you know the best way to invest is within yourself? And you can make money by investing in yourself? Sounds weird, right? But the better that we are doing, the better that we are able to contribute at work or in our business or work on ideas that felt a long time ago, far ways out, maybe something we can't do because we don't trust ourselves because we haven't done the work to be able to, when we get to what looks like a roadblock, but is actually a hurdle that we need to jump over or work around, we stop. If we are taking care of ourselves, then we can get past that. So I went into chatbot right before coming in here. I barely looked at this. So let me read it off to you about what it thinks the different modalities are. Remember with chat, this is Chat GPT that I'm using. It scrapes the internet to collect information and it comes up with ideas off that. And it oftentimes is in the right direction, but it's not always perfect. So know that. Let me read off to you what it's saying. Let me move myself off the screen for a second. Okay. So I asked it to tell me all the different modalities related to wellness and give me a brief explanation of them. It says wellness is a holistic concept that encompasses multiple dimensions of health and well-being. Different modalities help different individuals achieve balance in various aspects of life. Here's a comprehensive list of wellness modalities. No, that is not really comprehensive, along with a brief explanation of each. So my own medicine of choice is the 8 dimensions of wellness. It used to be 5, now it's 8. So mine is emotional, social, professional, environmental, spiritual, financial, physical, and psychological. And I probably should Google it at some point because I'm sure by now it's grown to 9. Who knows? It's been a couple of years. But let's go back to chatbot for a second. So it's talking about the physical wellness modalities. So there's exercise of movement, nutrition and diet, sleep optimization. And this is one that I've been focusing on myself. I am having a sleep expert on in the near future, but it won't go live until the end of this year, probably. So it's talking about adequate sleep, high quality rest for body restoration, and cognitive function. There's massage therapy. I've been getting into that to help me recover from my car accident. Chiropractic care. I also have that in there. And acupuncture. I do that. There's hydrotherapy, which uses water, bath, saunas, hot cold therapy for relaxation, detoxification, and pain relief. And I was actually just contemplating that while driving the other day, using the sauna more. Aromatherapy, that's essential oils to promote relaxation, enhance mood, and support physical well-being. And then there's the emotional and mental wellness modalities. So mindfulness and meditation. I have several that I've done on here. 2 should be live at this point, and the other one's coming up soon. Breath work. And when I was in the sauna the other week, there was someone who was doing the on purpose hyperventilation breathing, and I actually felt my body relax just watching him do it. I'll have to try it at some point. I don't know if you can even hear me breathing, but the very quick breaths, but knowing that you're at peace around you, there's no fight or flight happening, so you have to really work on that, and then the breathing. Cognitive behavioral therapy, and this is something that I use in my coaching practice and I have been through. It's a psychological approach that helps individuals reframe negative thought patterns. Is this really true? Asking that type of question. Journaling, art therapy. I want to try that at some point. That sounds fun. Music therapy. And then there's spiritual wellness modalities like energy healing, Reiki, pranic healing, Qigong. I think it's maybe how you say it. I've done Reiki. I really like it. So that's about focusing on balancing and enhancing life force energy for spiritual and emotional well being. I would include acupuncture in there. There's chakra healing, there's crystal healing, sound healing. I really like doing that one. When I have deep work to do, I put on a sound bath music. Prayer and spiritual practices. I've never tried this one, but there's shamanic healing. There's drumming, journeying, and rituals connected to this with spiritual guides and emotional wound healing. I've heard amazing things from coach friends who have tried it, and maybe in the nearest future, I want to try it. I need to find somebody first. Maybe I should get somebody on this podcast to interview about that. I think I'll work on that next. Social wellness modalities, support groups and therapy circles. For me, I'm working on creating more friendships and getting out more. Community engagement and volunteering. This is something that I am big into. Relationship coaching, and that's about helping individuals create healthy interpersonal dynamics. Almost any coach works at least a little bit in there. Intellectual wellness modalities, lifelong learning. That is why I'm doing pickleball and piano. Reading and writing, puzzles and brain games. Those who like Sudoku, maybe we should not make fun of you as much as we do. Environmental wellness modalities, ecotherapy, nature therapy, forest bathing, connecting with nature to enhance well-being. I really love hiking for this reason. And I plan on having somebody on in the near future about this. And this one is feng shui. I never pronounce it quite right, sorry. And space clearing, creating harmonious environments that promote mental clarity and positive energy. I'm really good at space clearing, but the feng shui part, I want to learn more about that. It sounds fun. Decluttering and minimalism, reducing material excess to improve mental clarity and emotional space. Do you know we feel more stressed out if we have clutter, visual clutter, that while we're stressed out, or even just trying to have that peace within ourselves, whether there's all that clutter, it can be very difficult. Financial wellness modalities, financial literacy and budgeting. So learning how to budget. I've had several professionals on about that. Money mindset coaching. I have been working on this recently and it's been just, I feel a weight lifted. It feels amazing. And that's about addressing limiting beliefs around wealth and abundance. Wealth and career planning. Aligning financial goals with personal and professional aspirations. And I do help with career planning, but not well. So it sounds like a fun modality. Occupational wellness modalities. Did you notice that chatbot knows that I do the 8 dimensions of wellness, so it broke it down in that? It's fun. Not what I intended at all. Work-life balance coaching. So this is something to think about that's really important. You don't need coaches for these things unless you find that you are really struggling with them, by the way. They help individuals create sustainable boundaries between work and personal life. And sometimes we even need that between our family life and ourselves, like taking care of ourselves, that self-care part. Career counseling guides individuals towards fulfilling career paths. I met with somebody on Monday just about that. A lot of fun. Ergonomic workplace design. This sounds fun to dive into. This might be my next thing that I do just for me. Ensures physical well-being and efficiency in workplaces. And I've thought about that, like just making sure that I am in the right posture. I don't know if you notice when I interview people, I tend to do this. But that's what I think about with ergonomic workplace design. Sounds like there's a lot more involved with there. But I wanted to go through with chatbot and then with you all the different modalities that there are to help you realize that it's not one size fits all. It's really about checking in with yourself and what do I most need? What feels the most out of balance in my life? What I like to think about, I even have a few pictures of it on my website, are we've all seen them if we've been out in nature, how people stack rocks and that balance. And if the rocks aren't stacked just right or the right sizes, they fall over. And we can feel like that within our bodies, within our psychological health, our career health, different things like that. Another way that I like to think about it is it's really hard to see. I plan on making this by hand a lot bigger just for my own fun, and then I'll post it up here. But these show the 8 dimensions of wellness, and think of it like a wheel, and if you're missing that, it's a flat wheel, isn't it? It's hard to keep that wheel turning. I don't know if you've ever driven on a flat tire. I have. It We were racing each other for a little bit, and then I was finally like, "Fine, I'm gonna roll down my window," and when I did, they told me I had a flat tire. Felt very stupid. And then I called my husband and let him know, and I pulled off, he met up with me, and he changed it for me. Yes, I was capable, but it was so nice to have somebody take care of me. And I think that's part of what's so beautiful about coaching is there are things that we could take care of ourselves, but we can get there faster, farther, easier if we have somebody coaching us along, somebody who's lived it, experienced it, coached other people, can give us the hacks to get there. Let's do a body scan practice and really check in with ourselves somatically. So let's start with taking a few deep breaths and grounding ourselves. If you are driving, you could still do this while driving. You just won't be closing your eyes, please. And if you are in a place where you can close your eyes, if you're folding laundry, just set it down for just a second to close your eyes. If you're listening to this while doing something else while walking, you can still do this. Just bear with me. Okay. If you're in a place where you can close your eyes, go ahead and do it. I am going to do it. Close your eyes so you can get a little bit deeper in with yourselves. You're taking out that sense of vision. It's easier to check in with the other thing. Close your eyes. We're going to take a few deep breaths here. Okay. Breathe in deep with me. Count to 4. And then breathe out. Okay, breathe in again. Count to 4. Breathe out for a count of 4. Or a count of 3, whatever you need. All right, let's do it one more time. Breathe in, and then just huff it all out. All right, if you need to, do a little shake. Feel any tension that you need to shake out. Okay, now let's take a minute to feel our feet. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your feet. Feel yourself connecting to the ground. If you're walking or running, notice the sound that your feet are making. Notice the sensations. Notice your shoes, your feet in your shoes. How is that arch support for you? I have high arches, so I need to check in every once in a while. Is that where that lower back pain that flared up is coming from? Oh, it's time to get new shoes, new inserts, whatever. All right, notice that. Notice your feet. Is there anything that your feet are saying to you that is a part of our body that we ignore quite a bit? And it does so much for us. It holds us up. It moves us around. Have you ever tried, especially if you have little kids, walking on your knees? It doesn't feel very good, right? Your feet do a lot for you. If you need to, give your feet some love. If you need to do a light massage. We live in a day and age where it can feel very weird to touch ourselves. As soon as we say those words, it can sound like we mean sexual. Give your feet some love if you need to. Schedule that pedicure if you need to. Okay. Now that we've been at our feet, giving some love, helping ourselves feel grounded, doing some toe curls if we need, let's take our attention off our feet for a little bit, and we're going to start at the crown of our head. Just do that scan. Start at the crown, go through your forehead, all the way down through your cheeks. If you notice any sensations, acknowledge them. Put your fingers on them if you need. Go through your jaw, your chin, your neck, your collarbone, your shoulders. Include your arms in this area as you're going down through your chest, through your diaphragm. Why don't you take that extra breath now that we're noticing the diaphragm? Go through. Maybe we stop at our elbows and we can go through the rest of our arm from there. Through our fingers, give them a little wiggle, a little wave. All right, let's go back to our diaphragm and go down. Notice as many organs as you can and just give them love and acknowledgement. Thank you for taking care of me. Thank you for working so hard. Thank you for all that you give me when I ignore you for the most part, unless something's wrong. Thank you for the gifts that you give. All right, through to the stomach, through to the hips, the pelvis, on down the thighs, to your knees. Maybe wiggle your legs a little bit if you need to. I tend to feel tension in my hips and my lower back, so this little movement helps. All the way down your calves, back to your feet. Ankles, feet, wiggle them around a little bit. Do any movements or put your hands on any places that need just a little extra support. Take a moment to tune into your body. What is your body telling you that you need right now? If you need to, pause, go do it and come back. Okay, let's take an extra breath in. And if you need to, I feel the need, I'm going to do lion's breath, where you stick your tongue out. Glad my eyes are closed, so I didn't have to see what that looked like. Okay, you ready? Let's dive back in. If you were to really reflect on what came up for you, what areas, what dimension of wellness do you feel like you need support in? Is it emotional? How are you doing emotionally right now? In this moment. You can do overall if you need to. How about socially? Professionally? Environmentally? And that could be your environment where you're at right now. It could be where you spend the most of your time. You can go beyond just, I'm in my office, so I can go beyond these four walls to the rest of my home. How about spiritual? How are you doing? Have you taken the time to realize how much bigger your spirit is than your body? And I'm tall. My spirit is expansive. Have you taken time? What I really love doing to remember that is the star pose in yoga, where you just take up space. Or you could even do the beach ball pose, where it looks like you feel like you're holding up a beach ball and you have some resistance to that ball. Or sometimes you can even just do jumping jacks to get there. Remember that your spirit does not need to be in a box. We are very spiritual beings, but we tend to forget that and focus too much on the physical parts. Financially, are there any things that are coming up? If we talk about money, we talk about finances. If we talk about euros, whatever you call money in your country. How about physical? For me, I have been on quite the journey putting my body back together after having 4 children. I made the mistake of carrying them all on this side. So I have quite the knot going on through this area. So I've been on the journey to fix that. And while I was on the journey and feeling really good is when I had the car accident that flared up this whole side. I'm hoping in the end I get evened out. We'll see. But That's where a lot of my focus has been, is on my physical. I was really getting into weightlifting and having a lot of fun, and weightlifting now flares up my back and my neck like none other. So it's really focusing on mindful movements more for me. Walking, yoga. I've gotten into pickleball, so I need to do a lot of stretching before and after. How about psychologically? Did you notice when I was saying these, and this is why I want to redraw it, I have not found anything that's already made or that I can make online the way that I want to, that this is a Venn diagram. I don't know if you've ever seen Venn diagrams, but they overlap. Did you notice that? Let's start with the easy to notice. Psychological and emotional, they overlap, right? And how well we are doing socially goes in with emotional. Professional affects how we feel emotionally. Because have you ever had a terrible boss and hated life and it messes with your sleep? And then because you're not sleeping well, it messes with the other categories of wellness? And this is just the modality that I choose, is the 8 dimensions of wellness, because you can easily do those check-ins with yourself. There are, of course, other ways to think of wellness, which is the whole point of this. And how this works with aging, because that is the main topic, is when you are focusing on these things, when you are happy, lit up, aligned, and when you're getting enough sleep, you look and feel younger. And there have been studies on the blue zone areas. Have you focused on their lifestyle? They don't live a stressful lifestyle. They eat properly. They walk a ton. They have a slower, mindful lifestyle. We are in areas, especially if you're listening to this, that aren't like that. So how can we provide that for ourselves? How can we have those moments to slow down and be mindful and intentional and to focus on the things that we love? If you've seen videos of people, documentaries, whatever, of these blue zones, they have very strong social connections. In some of the places, they live in very hilly areas and they walk a lot. They don't really have cars. I don't know how cars would really do in those very hilly places. They're physically active, they have the social connections. Their environment is very different because there aren't really cars. Think about what their environment is like. They spend a lot more time outside, so maybe they have older homes with lead. I don't know if those countries really did lead in the paint like we unfortunately did. And their focus is not on financial. Maybe it's a proverb or something and it's been shared enough times that I don't have to source it because nobody really knows the source. Yay for me. But it is this proverb, we'll call it a proverb, of a fisherman. And this wealthy man came to his village and met him. And I'm going to butcher the story, but the point is what matters the most of the story. So I will get there. But he saw this fisherman, he saw that he was well liked in his community, and he went up to him and said, I see that you are a fisherman. What I have to offer you will give you finances beyond your wildest dreams, but you would have to change your lifestyle. Right now, this fisherman had a chance to fish. He had enough for his family. He shared with the village, and he had tons of time to spend with his family and very mindfully, intentionally, very laid back lifestyle. And he lived on the beach. And when we think of tranquility, where do our minds go? Where do we want to go? The waves, that nice feeling. He had the time that he wanted and needed to do things that he wanted to do. Well, this wealthy businessman was saying that you would need to give up all of those things to grow your empire, and then you could finally retire and have that all over again. And the fisherman said to him, why would I want to do that when I can have that now? So there's really that thought of, do we really want to be chasing after riches We've heard stories of the things that people would do in order to have millions of dollars, but what about your wellness at the end of the day? Are you really going to be the person that you want to be? Person you desire to be, the person that you were called to be, your life's purpose, if you're chasing after those things? What I really like is the idea that as we are pursuing ourselves, bettering ourselves, and we're doing it in a holistic, healthy way, not driving apart our family because it's all about us in a narcissistic way. As we are doing those things, the finances come to us in amazing ways that we could not have pushed for. Life doesn't have to be this push and this struggle. When we align ourselves and when we are focused on our whole wellness, and when I think of wellness, I think of all of us, all the parts that make up us, which is very different than when we go to the doctor. And there are different diagnoses codes that are basically saying it's in your head and that's what's causing this ailment. And people don't like being told that, but it can be very true. If you live in a state of stress for so long, it shows up in your body. Absolutely. And it takes years off your life. I was coaching somebody about that recently. Do you want those years back? You can have them back by making sure that you are living mindfully and aligned. That's wellness for me. And it is worth that investment, and you can reverse a lot of aging. I was talking to somebody that I had brunch with today, and we were talking about how when we lose the social connections and we lose our physicality, our chance to be physical, to walk, to move around, we tend to atrophy. If you think about muscle building, atrophy is the opposite of that. So we tend to atrophy within ourselves, like our brain, our person, who we are, when we take those away. My goal in life when retirement age is to live in a retirement community where there are enough people around me that are in the same stage of life that it's easy to have those social connections and that there's events going on and I can have my walking group and my vacation group for all the different things that I want to do. I'm sure I'll still be doing pickleball or some other fun sport for learning and growth at that point. But are we allowing ourselves those chances now? But I know once we get to a certain age, our friends start dying off. So it's better to be in a place where we can easily find people our age at that time. But what are we doing now? What do you need help with? So with that thought, let's get into the coaching because we are around the time when we should be finished. Are you done listening to me yet? Are you ready to be done? Okay. Which area stood out to you most that you're doing well in? Let's start there. Which area do you feel like you need support in because you've been struggling to do it alone? Let's talk. Which area do you want to focus on more? Knowing that when you focus on one area, it builds up the other ones. Think of that Venn diagram here. What new thing do you want to try? Putting this through ChatGPT, since it's a computer, we'll use it, non-gender. Talked about exercise and movement, nutrition, diet, sleep optimization, massage therapy, chiropractic care, acupuncture, hydrotherapy, aromatherapy, mindfulness and meditation, breath work, cognitive behavioral therapy, journaling, art therapy, music therapy, energy healing. I want to get more into that one myself. Chakra healing, crystal healing, sound healing, prayer and spiritual practices, shamanic healing, sport groups and therapy circles, community engagement and volunteering, relationship coaching, lifelong learning, reading and writing, puzzles and brain games, ecotherapy, feng shui and space clearing, decluttering and minimalism, financial literacy and budgeting, money mindset coaching, wealth and career planning, work-life balance coaching, career counseling, ergonomic workplace design, Did any of those trigger anything for you? Did you feel it in your body? Where did you feel it? What else do you need from here? When you think of aging, what do you want to reverse? What do you wish you had yesterday, years ago? What do you wish for again? What can you do right now to support yourself on your journey? Like I said, if you need help, reach out to me. You can leave comments if you're watching the YouTube video. You can find me on my website, wellnessinEverySeason.com. I'm hardly ever on social media, so don't really try that one. Besides, YouTube will email me. You can find me, Autumn, at wellnessinEverySeason.com. I am here to support you. I started this for you. I look forward to talking to you next week. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. I hope today's discussion inspired you and offered valuable insights. Stay engaged with our wellness community by signing up for my newsletter at wellnessinEverySeason.com/free resources. Your shares, subscriptions, and reviews help us reach more people seeking empowerment. So please spread the word about our podcast and about our newsletter. Thank you for being a part of our podcast community. I look forward to continuing our conversation, sharing stories, and exploring wellness in all of its aspects. Take care until our next episode. You can also work with me one-on-one or on demand through one of my programs by visiting wellnessinEverySeason.com/programs. One last thing to cover the show legally, I am a certified life coach giving general advice. So think of this more as a self-help book. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. See you in next week's episode.